Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And happy New Year to you all. I'm so excited to reconnect with all of you, share with you the amazing things that are coming in 2022. But I'm going to start off by interviewing my first guest for the year, an amazing young woman coming to us all the way from South Africa. So welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi everyone. Assalamu alaikum to those of you that are Muslim. I'm Miengah Hendricks. I am from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm 21 years old and really psyched to be here today. I'm a little bit nervous right now, but as Gertrude said, I need to tell a bit of my story and why I'm here today. I'm here because I'm really passionate about mental health and fighting the stigma against mental illnesses and bringing to our community in Cape Town a sense of safety and a sense of comfort to the young people around. I'm a little more nervous than I expected to be.
Where does your story begin? Can you remember a moment in time where your whole life changed and you knew you had something you wanted to share with the world?
Yes. It was in 2019. I was just back at high school. I took a few years off and it was just before final exams at the end of the year. So I was the type of student where I worked throughout the year and I prepared myself so that I could get like really good grades because I wanted to get a scholarship at the end of high school. And for whatever the reason was, my mental health said, no, that's not going to happen. It was a constant battle between depression taking away all my energy and then anxiety making me run around like a headless chicken. And this vicious cycle went on throughout the year. And eventually, just before finals in October, I got to a point where I had no energy for anything. I had no desire to do anything. I had no will to actually care about anything. I stopped like grooming myself. I stopped sleeping on time. I just had no care at all. And I didn't really know things were bad. I didn't know that I needed help. And I didn't know that this wasn't normal. This wasn't okay. And I'm really grateful that I was in therapy at the time because I'm not sure what would have happened if I wasn't. And we got to a point where my therapist told me, we're getting ready to have you checked into a psychiatric hospital because we think that's what you need right now. And looking back, I know that that was the moment that I was in the lowest of the low, and whatever would have happened from then on forward, the lowest place I could have ended up would have been exactly that place. When I came out of hospital, I still didn't feel like everyone else came out with this like new zest for life. And I was sitting there still like really reserved about how the future would go. I was a lot more hopeful, but I didn't feel the same. And my therapist comforted me saying that, it takes time and it takes time to heal. It takes time to get used to your medication. It takes time to come to terms with the reality that you were facing. I had depression and anxiety when I went into hospital, and I was textbook cases. So how it looks when you think of it, that's what I was. In the holidays when I was back home, an idea just sprung on me to start a space for other young people who felt this way. I spoke to my dad. He actually we were busy in the house, and I was saying, Dad, I have this idea for an organization where young people get to talk about things that are hurting them, things that are bothering them without judgment, without anybody else knowing about it, some place that's just theirs, that's safe for them. And I was like, there can be a coding system, there can be an anonymity, there can be all of these things. But it was like very, very quick. And within like a week, we started up an organization. We had volunteers willing to help. And right now we like launched our social media. So we're posting on Instagram and LinkedIn, all of those things. But it wasn't started just to start something. It was started to be for the young people out there, for the Muslim youth especially, because in our community, there is the stigma against someone who has a mental illness. And it's always something where they will tell you, you don't have enough faith, you're doing something wrong. And it's not the reality. It's like any other illness you have. If you were diabetic, if you had some other chronic illness, it's very similar to that. It needs treatment, it needs care. And that's what we're trying to change within our community, by providing that space for young people to process what they're going through and all of those things. What's really scary about some of the cases that we've seen with young people, one, they really don't know what they're going through and how severe the circumstances are. We find a lot of kids are not able to speak to their parents about the severity of the situation. And you, as an organization, we get stuck between a rock and a hard place, because what the person's going through isn't okay, but we're limited in what we can do for the organization.
Wow. It sounds to me like you were very lucky that you had somebody counseling you. Now, a lot of youth don't have that kind of support. If you were to go back to the younger you, maybe there's a young person who's listening to this interview right now, is really not in a good place with their mental health. What advice would you give them? What 3 nuggets of wisdom would you give them?
One thing that always gets me is to try and do what your best self would do. I had little things that used to keep me going. One of it was wearing funky socks, and it was my secret with myself, and that would be the way I would keep myself going through the day. Sometimes it's a funky bracelet. Just have something, a small thing or a small ritual that reminds you that you are okay, that you can make it. On really bad days, I actually make myself a cup of tea, but that is my conscious ritual to remind myself that I can make it through this. The second thing I would say is, please reach out to somebody, a close friend, a teacher, anybody that you know that will hold you and comfort you in that space. The most important message, and that's something you actually have to tell yourself and tell your depression or your anxiety, whatever mental illness you're struggling with, you don't have to face this alone. There are so many people that want to help you, but they don't know that you're suffering and you're hurting. The third thing, just keep trying. One of the hardest things to do is to give up, because every part of you does want to go on. Something that someone told me when I was feeling close to being suicidal, I wasn't quite there yet, but I was like on the path towards it, supposedly. They were saying that it's not really that you want to die or that you want to end your life or any of those things. It's just whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're stuck in, your circumstances, you want that to end, not your life. So the idea was to recreate yourself somewhere else. So moving to a different city or moving to a different school or something like that, just to end your life as you know it currently. Something along those lines, which was interesting, but it did make sense afterwards.
Yeah, and you're right. That was a very good piece of advice, because nothing stays the same. The only constant in life is change. Things are constantly changing. And whatever situation you're in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, things will have moved and changed as well. And even the emotions change. The feelings you're having will change too. So we've got a couple of people who are tuning in on Facebook. I can see a dear friend of mine, Marilise de Villiers, is also from Cape Town. Marilise, it's good to see you there. She
Hello.
said, beautiful sharing, Miha. I love your story and applaud your bravery. Your work to remove the mental health stigma amongst young South Africans is truly inspiring. Sending love and light. So that is a beautiful message from Marilise. Now, Marilise is actually our chairperson for the Her Story movement in the UK. I would love to connect you with her because she's also looking for projects in South Africa that she can support. So it's wonderful to see her tuning in tonight. Now, if you could share with us a few things that you have done for yourself to cope, let's say, for example, with anxiety. Take me through a step-by-step process, a few tools that you've discovered to help you with anxiety.
One of the big things that I had to learn was my body's going to tell me before my mind's willing to accept that I'm anxious. So I have like fingers that will jitter, my heart rate will go up. And one of the things I had to learn was to tune into what my body was telling me. So
Yes.
the minute I picked up that my body was saying, you're feeling anxious, these are your indicators that you are anxious. Everybody has a different indicator.
Yes.
And like mine was shaking and heart rate going up and the likes of that. And to know that that was my indicator that I was feeling anxious if I couldn't recognize otherwise that I was feeling anxious. And then depending on once I tuned in how anxious I felt, either I would be able to mentally work myself through it, or I would have to take my tablet. It's like an acute anxiety tablet, and that to just physiologically calm me down. One of the big things I learned getting through like finals exams for matric was to tell myself I can only do what is in my capacity. Expecting myself to do more than that is not reasonable. And it's a really it seems logical, but it's not as simple or straightforward, because your mind will say something like, but you can if you just don't sleep, or you don't have to do that, you can push more, and all of those things. And it was this like internal conversation to say, look here, we have a limit. We're not robots, we're not infinite. We have a capacity, and to work within that capacity and do my best with what I have, and not expect myself to pull from resources that don't exist within myself or are going to burn me out afterwards.
Yeah.
But that took a lot longer than like recognizing the physical symptoms and things like that.
Wow. So again, Marilise is chiming in. She said she would definitely love to connect with you. She's also saying that my body is going to tell me I'm anxious before my mind. So she's actually just reiterating everything you've said. That's really interesting. Now, if I could take you into your future and have you have a conversation with the future you, that young woman who has gone through so much in her life, but has found a way to turn things around to help other people who are going through a similar struggle, what 3 nuggets of wisdom could you share if you could talk to that older you when you have retired and you're reflecting back on your life? What would you say?
One of the first messages is that time is no limit. As old as what you are, you can still do something amazing.
Yes.
If there's any dreams that you have left, still go out and work on them. Age is not a limit. Keep going. Whatever it is, keep going.
Yeah.
The second thing is make peace with anything that you feel that you are going to regret or you have regretted. We can't change the past, but we can look to the future with new eyes and new hope.
Yeah.
The third thing is to appreciate where I will find myself in that time, the people that I'm going to be with, and all of those things. Most importantly, like they say, you look forward to certain parts of your life, but you get so hung up looking to the next part. that you forget to be present in the moment that you actually are in. And I hope that that's something the future me will remember when I'm in the next parts of my life. Inshallah.
Absolutely love that. Miengah, thank you so much for coming online and gracing us with your presence. How can people get hold of you? Is your program online? Are you only helping South Africans, or do you help young people in other parts of the world?
We do have a few members outside of South Africa. We have some in the UK. We have some in Indonesia, Malaysia on that side.
Okay.
The platform is online. At the moment, we are on Instagram and LinkedIn. Our organization's details is Salīm Minds. I will send it to you, Gertrude.
Yes, please put it in the chat, then I can put it with the video.
All right.
For people to be able to find you.
Salīm Minds. Sorry. I'm not very good at multitasking. Don't tell anyone. So that's Instagram. If we type Salīm Minds into LinkedIn, I'm sure it'll be coming up. And then on there will be contact details to get a hold of me, because my WhatsApp details are the details if you have any queries or any concerns. And then the registration information, if you want to join the organization, you want to be part of the safe space, you can register yourself through the links. And
so let me share that. So there is your Instagram. If anybody would like to connect, please go on to Miengah's Instagram, send her a message, and be a part of this amazing movement that's really helping young people. And you may be a psychologist, you may be somebody who's in the profession, and you're wanting to find a way that you can give some input as well. Please feel free to get in touch. Now, we also have another comment coming in from Nigeria. Olawakemi is a very good friend of mine as well. She has recently joined the Her Story movement. She's just again agreeing with you that exactly as old as you are, you still can do something. Age should not limit us. It's a good reminder for the older ones of us. So you've really come to inspire us tonight. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you speak at our next online summit. Like I said, the summit is on the 22nd to the 31st of January. If you email me a day when you can participate, it would be in the evening, your time, because we're operating on New Zealand time. So we'll try and slot you in as one of the first speakers. I think 7 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne would probably be 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening in South Africa. So we'll have you on as one of the first speakers. But thank you. Thank you for your courage. I think we need to talk about mental health issues more. If people shared what they were going through, less people would suffer in silence. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me and for opening up this platform for me. It was overwhelming from start to finish, but in a good way, definitely in a good way. And I appreciate your encouragement and your energy. It was really, really warm and lovely.
That is wonderful. And now my phone rings just as we are about to finish. So sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
So we'll keep in touch. I will send you an email with a link where you can register, upload your information, and it will be wonderful to have you participate in the conference.
Thank you so much. I look forward to getting the email.
Okay, I will send it tonight. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We are wonderfully enjoying coming into the new year, into the new season. If you want to speak on the Her Story online platform, please register to speak. The website is the herstorycircle.com. herstorycircle.com. It's showing there at the bottom of the screen. Take up the courage to share your story. Your story could be the light at the end of somebody else's dark tunnel. So thank you, Miengah. Good night, everybody. I'll be back soon with yet another amazing speaker. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.